I want to take you on a journey into my family's past, specifically to a point where I found myself incredibly excited and proud to dig deeper into the history of my distant relatives. It's Germany, 1837, and this is my third great-grandfather. His name is Joseph Ignaz Schlund. Details of his life are scant, but what is known is that he fought for the Union Army during the Civil War and would later be promoted to lieutenant. Here you see a copy of the Civil War Pension Index filed by his wife, my third great-grandmother, after his death in 1911. This is Joseph's father, my fourth great-grandfather, Fidel Anton Schlund, who is perhaps the most interesting character to me in my family history. Fidel was a widely popular German political leader who was at the forefront of the German Revolution of 1848. Which the purpose of that was to buck the Austria and Prussian states' rule over Germany and instill a democratic socialist nation, or at least a more liberal one. The power and money of the bourgeoisie was too much to fight against, and the rebellion was lost. Fidel was imprisoned for 7 months for treason, and upon release became one of the, quote, 48ers, end quote, a term used to describe liberal German immigrants who were fleeing their homeland due to political persecution. Upon arrival in the U.S., Fidel and his sons joined the Union Army, and Fidel became a vociferous campaigner for Abraham Lincoln. Here in this photo, you'll see a New York Times obituary for him. And I think this is just a funny photo because it used to hang up in my grandma's house, and me and my brother always thought the woman in it, who is Fidel's wife, was haunting the place. But now, after doing this project, I have much greater respect for her. And as the objective of a historical telling is one of facts, I believe it would be a disservice to not mention the shameful portion of my family. This is the Huey family. My great-grandma Betty Huey was a sweet woman. But as you can see here, this is a census slave schedule. It was taken in 1850, and it shows that my sixth great-grandfather of my grandmother's paternal line, the Hueys in Kentucky, owned no less than 36 slaves. In my life and in this moment, I hope to do what I can to erase the systems put in place by some of my ancestors, by fighting against it like some of my others. I've been so fortunate as to have a family that documented their history, so I leave this history by quoting a passage from their history book. The context for this is Fidel Anton Schlund attending a secession meeting in Missouri and watching the Confederate flag be raised outside of the courthouse. Quote, "The flag was flying when the meeting adjourned. Father was so incensed that he determined it should not remain there until daylight. He at once made a very daring and dangerous decision to dispose of it. Shortly after midnight, he returned to the building, quietly and alone. He managed to climb to the roof, rolled it into his coat. He found a bank of the Missouri River, tied the flag to a stone, and threw the roll into the water. When it was discovered in the morning, there was such an uproar in the city that Father knew if the culprit was caught there would be no mercy. He had been threatening to enlist in the Northern Army, so by noon the same day, he boarded a freight train for Quincy, Illinois. He quickly took steps to enlist in response to Lincoln's call for volunteers." As it's not often I get to show this to people who care too much, this is the book that my family has kept for many years and passed down for a long time. The records for the family members and their very detailed histories go back all the way to the early 1800s.